Hello everyone. Today I'm going to convince you to actually switch to Superbase, and I'll give you 5 different reasons why you should consider switching to Superbase right now. And those are my top 5 reasons. There are of course more, but those are top 5. So, reason number 1, Superbase is actually open source. So Superbase is an open source platform, which means that you can actually go to GitHub and just write Superbase GitHub, and this will be in Google or whatever search engine you're using, and the result will show up. What does that mean? What that means is that this is an open source platform, which means that you can view the code, you can even change the code, and you can expect more features to come, and you can expect people to actually, if there is something that you think you can implement in Superbase that it's lacking right now, you can implement it, or you can like create an issue for that so people can know that you have issue with Superbase. And currently Superbase have 252 issues, so to say, but it's open source, it's free, and we'll talk about the price a little bit later, but you can even actually host it on your own server, so that's actually a plus, a super plus for me at least. And then what's on the other hand? So the other hand, we have Firebase, which of course it's a Google product, and as a Google product, you don't have any like control of it. You cannot self-host the database or any services that are provided from Google. And we already know, if you don't know, Firebase is actually switching. For example, I'll just give you one example. That Firebase is actually, they had the dynamic links which were working fine, like relevantly fine. Some of the users were reporting, and there was an issue with an iOS, in the iOS, where the night link is actually not working the way intended, but in like they're closing it, right? It says that fortunately, the dynamic links were going to be closed, and you can actually see it over here. It says dynamic links is no longer going to support and will stop working on August 25, 2025. So what that means is that you are not actually there's the Google are actually switching services like wherever they want to, and we already know about the dead pool of all the Google uh, services that Google have switched off already or shut down. I was actually a very happy user of Stadia, for example. The game, probably the gaming platform they created, and I was super happy because you can actually hire or you can buy a game and then just play it wherever you want, so like on the phone, on your computer. It was great, actually. It was working fine. It was working great, not fine. It was working great for me. But then they just shut it out. They just after, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, they just shut it down. So, like, what I'm trying to say is that you never know what you can expect from Firebase and from Google. So having like an open source alternative, which would be Superbase, it's one of the reasons that I prefer. Reason number 2. So SQL support. What that means? That means that Firebase is NoSQL database and Superbase is SQL database. What that means is that you can implement or you can query a complex queries, and in Firebase, unfortunately, you cannot do that. And what I mean is that I have made a video about that like 5 months ago by the time of recording of this video, about, for example, the in filter query. What that means is that right now, currently, Firebase had limitations of when you're using in filter inside your query, you're getting 10 results, like 10 documents out of this result. And they actually recently updated like a month ago, and now you're, instead of 10, you're getting 20, which it's 2 times more. But still, if you have like the result that you're expecting is like 1,000 documents or 10,000 documents or 1 million documents out of your in filter, you're getting only 20 results. And for me personally, this is not something that works. And if I want to, yes, of course, you can implement like Infinity Explorer or pagination or whatever. But still, if I want to get my 30 or let's say 300 documents that are going to be a result or return from the query, I actually want to do that. So that's why I'm saying that using Firebase, there is no limitation when you're querying your database. And I think for me personally, this is the idea of database. The idea of database is to have a database where you want to query something and get the result. It doesn't really matter if you're getting one result or if you're getting 10 million results. You should be able to get the results. And implementing it at your front end is something else. This is like another topic. But like I said, if you want to get something, I want to get it, right? It's my own database. I know what I'm doing. So let me show you another example. There is a query actually in Firestore that you can click. Those errors are about something else. Don't look at them. This is about push notifications, Firebase setup, push notifications. It's about basically about push notification. I haven't set it up, but because this is a demo project, that's why. But if I click over here, edit background query, I have like a simple collection called my collection. I have a list of documents, and I have like a simple fields over here. I have a couple of fields like name, age, weight, height, and so on and so forth. And then I have, for example, height. And here inside, if I am query this from, if I want to get a height, let's say I want to get a height from my users that are from, let's say, from 120, like 1 meter and 20 centimeters to 2 meters, for example. Height. So I'm in Europe. That's why I'm talking in like meters and centimeters. But you get the point. The idea is that if you want to get the height and if you want to use the same field for less than or equal to, and then use the same field height again for greater than or equal to, you actually cannot do that. You don't get any errors here in Furtherflow, which I think it's a little bit like a minus, because I know that Furtherflow already know that you cannot do that. So I think a simple error here will be great actually from Furtherflow, and to just say to the user, no, unfortunately, you cannot do that. You cannot query the same field for greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, or actually query it like the same field wherever query you're using. If you're using the same field name, you cannot do it. Unfortunately, you cannot do it. It will not work. And now, like I said, you're not getting any errors here in Furtherflow, but it will not work. If you try it and open the console, you actually see the error. And then if you're using Superbase, what about if you're using Superbase? So I set up like again a simple table which is called demo, and I have a list of rows. And here inside the list of rows, I have the ID. So for example, here I was able to write wherever I want to, first of all. And in the first query, when I was using Firebase for whatever reason, I was sticked to just write wherever. This is not, if I remove that right now, I was able to write it. But before that, if I just add it, so let me show you what I mean. If I add the filter and if I add height, and now if I select, let's say, greater than or equal to, you can actually see that it's automatically it's unset for whatever reason. And I have to delete that, and then I can write wherever I want to. Let's say this is 1, so less than 2 meters, and let's say greater than 1 and 120, for example. So like I said, this will not work. Unfortunately, you don't get any errors, but this will not work. And then I have this filter, and then if I want to filter by ID here, in this particular case in Superbase, I can just write, give me all that are, let's say, greater than 1, all IDs that are greater than 1, and they are less than or equal to, let's say, 10, for example, or 100 or whatever. And then I confirm that, and that this will work. This should work. So this is the difference. From one side, you have limitations when you're querying your database, which is crazy for me. And then on the other side, you can actually query wherever you want to, because Superbase is SQL database. Number 3, costs or pricing. So let's compare actually the pricing. And I'm not going to talk about like the specific compares of the pricing. I just want to tell you that from a personal experience, I believe that the pricing on Superbase is actually a little bit better than the one that Firebase is providing. But of course, it depends on the project. It depends on the size of the project. It depends what you want to do in the project. It depends if you have a database. It depends if you have a storage. It depends if you're using push notifications or not. It depends if you're using cloud functions or not. So let's first start with let's actually first start with the Superbase. So Superbase actually have a free plan where it's included unlimited API requests. What that means is actually that you can request how many request you want, or query your database as much as possible, or you have like unlimited requests, right? So that means that if you have like a small database users, but they're constantly active, or you want to get like the whole document, or in Superbase case it's a table, so you want to get the whole table with 10,000 or 1 million rows, you actually supposed to be able to do that for free, and there is no charge, there's no reads, there's no writes, there's no on delete, there's no updates, there's nothing like that in Superbase. So the database space is a little bit less, so it's like 2 times less. So it's here Superbase, the free plan is providing you 500 megabytes, but the Firebase is providing you 1 gigabyte for it, and the storage also it's 1 gigabyte, and Superbase Firebase is actually providing you 10 gigabytes for that. So if I go here, storage gigabyte storage, it's 5, so 5 times more than Superbase. But there are some different things like multiple buckets per project that are not included, for example. And then, of course, in Firebase, everything that you go beyond this point. So if you go beyond 5 gigabytes, for example, for cloud storage, you have to pay for every single gigabyte after that. And for example, if you go to your reads, and you are actually so for example, you have 50K users per month, active users per month. I don't think you have such a limitation here for users. How many users is your app is actually using? I don't, at least I don't see it. And then you have this cloud Firestore. So you have cloud, so you have stored data, which is 1 gigabyte, like I said, and you have the network ages. So you have 20,000 writes per day, and you have 50K reads per day, and you have 20K deletes per day. Those are per days. This is the free tier, and then after that you're paying per read. Like I said, in Superbase, you can have writes, reads, deletes, wherever you want to, how many you want to, and then also for cloud functions. Sorry, Flow recently announced that they have built-in cloud functions right now in Flow, so you can actually write your cloud functions directly and deploy them. For You have to actually have a plan for that, and I was using like 4 or 5 cloud storage, for example, in Firebase, and I was constantly, because I was using you're supposed to use pay as you go, the bronze plan, and I was using this plan, and I was constantly paying like $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 per month, which is of course nothing. But in the end of the day, I was just, those cloud functions were just sitting there getting dust. So they were actually not doing anything, and despite that, they were not even firing or anything like that. And despite that, I had actually to pay for them. So and this was like a demo project that I made. So I cannot even imagine if you have a real project and you need those cloud functions. You heard, for me, actually you're actually paying for nothing, just for having some code which is stored in Firebase, and you're paying for that. But then on the other hand, you have the Superbase, which there's I think they're supporting. I haven't even really look into it, but they have these functions as you can see over here. So they support functions as well. So basically the same thing as cloud functions. They didn't call it for cloud functions, but they support functions as well. So you have that as well in Superbase. And I don't know about the price. I have to check about that. But like what I'm trying to say is that I think pricing it will be better when you use Superbase than Firebase. Of course, do your own research. But this is my this is my research, and this is what I ended up knowing. Number four, real-time capabilities. So while both Firebase and Superbase offer real-time database updates, Superbase does it so using native Post SQL triggers and publish subscribe functionality. This makes it more flexible and capable of handling more complex real-time updates compared to Firebase Firestore, which comes with limitations in sorting and filtering data in real time. So, like again, because Superbase is using Postgre SQL, and Firebase is using no SQL or no SQL. That's why Firebase, in this regarding, again, is have a little bit more limitations, like when you're using sorting or filtering. And if you want to, I don't want to get into more details about that, but you have this in Superbase, you have this enable real time. And there is actually a video also in the future. I'll talk about using API calls and Superbase as well, and how you can basically act like a real time update the database or the data. Because this is possible as well. I haven't made yet a video about it, but that's a video will come in the future as well. So let's move on to the last one. And lastly, number five is actually you can use authentication and storage with Superbase. I don't know if there are a lot of people who knows that, but a lot of people are saying, why should I switch to Superbase when there is no authentication or storage? Well, you can actually use authentication and storage provided by Superbase, and there is arguably, I can argue about that using authentication from Superbase and storage from Superbase is even better. So the cost, I think it's better, and also there are some limitations. For example, Firebase, there are some limitation when you're uploading a file in the size of the file. There's limitation. I don't remember like the top of my head right now. What is it? I think 1 GB or something like that. And then also there are limitations like the rate limitations, like how many files you want to upload to your storage inside Superbase. And the great thing about Superbase is that I forget to mention actually, but talking about when I was talking about the price, is that when you use Superbase, even if you want to go to a paid version, it's only $25 per month. And this will give you like everything that you see over here. And arguably, I will actually you can actually check it for yourself again. But I think if you count this in Firebase for every single element that you see over here, and you convert it to Firebase, and you count what amount of money you're supposed to pay on the fly, so to say, I will argue that this. I will not argue. You just have to count it, of course. But I think I haven't counted, but I think calculated. But I think it will be much more than $25. Like I said, I use like 5 functions that I'm not even using them. The cloud, I'm talking about cloud functions, and I ended up paying like $4 or $5 per month. So like having paying only $25 per month, and you get all of this. That's great. Actually, that's amazing. Lastly, I just want to say that Superbase are actually not paying me for doing this video, but any way whatsoever. I'm just thinking that Superbase is the most official database or like notification and storage that it's provided right now out there when you're using Filterflow. So in the future, if that changes, actually, I would just make another video. But I know that a lot of people are actually using Firebase, and they all people actually started to use Firebase because Firebase was the only option when Flow actually started. But now they fully support Superbase, or at least like 90% they support Superbase. So it's actually, I'm just making this video so you can actually guys know what are the benefits and what are the downsides of using Superbase, so you can actually make a decision if you want to actually try Superbase or if you want to switch to Superbase. So thank you very much for watching this video. And before you go, actually, thanks for watching this video, but please help me to reach 4,000 subscribers. And when I reach 4,000 subscribers, I actually have a surprise for every single subscriber that I have. I will shuffle them and I will do a live session and I'll announce the winner. And what will be the winner? The winner should be a subscribe to the channel, and the price is this one. It's a Flow swag actually. I want to give to one of my subscribers. Like I said, it will be a live session when I reach 4,000 subscribers. And this Slack is actually have a t-shirt, the same that you see over here. It has stickers and it has a mug. So it's pretty good mug that you can drink your coffee or tea or whatever you like to drink from it. And like I said, I will give this to one of my subscribers. So please subscribe to the channel. And also, I'll do a live session. So it should be in the live session when I reach 4,000 subscribers. And I'll just pick from wherever who is subscribed. And it is in the live session. And I'll pick a winner so he or she can immediately DM me the address, and I can send this Slack box. So please subscribe to the channel to have a chance to win this amazing Slack box. I just want to say that the paid membership for YouTube is now open, so you can be a paid member to my YouTube channel, which means a lot. And thank you very much for all the people who are right now paid members to the channel.